Have you noticed that a lot of us are trying to avoid the phone more often and try to be present and connect with people physically? I started to see that when I was walking home from work. I used to see people on their phone to scroll on social media, but now either they're playing video games or actually staring out the window, and I assume they're trying to be present. This is actually a wonderful moment where we are all trying to go back to 2016, where even though we had our phones, we were actually connecting with people, especially during the days when Pokemon Go was a thing, where people gathered around certain places trying to catch Pokemon and eventually meet up with people. And you know what? I think we might be coming back to that era. And why is that? Because there have been cracks happening in the phone era. One of the biggest one actually is that there has been more news on how social media is in its maturity stage. This means people are already getting sick of it and what it has done to our lives. And now we're re-entering the declining stage like of this Facebook era. Only this time it's happening to other platforms where everything has become so commercialized and there seems to be lack of authenticity. The only thing that is holding Facebook together is its group and community pages. But how long would that last? I'm not sure. I remember not being on Facebook anymore because no one's there anymore. It was a nice outlet, but I think at some point Facebook had too many promotions and especially people posting random stuff that I eventually quit. And also slowly, people were moving away from Facebook to Instagram. I think it's because it had more visuals and fewer random status updates. But now Instagram has gone even more commercialized than Facebook ever was, and that's how they cracked themselves. Not only were they so commercialized, but the curated perfect lives of everyone were driving us all nuts and spiraling us all to anxiety, depression, and even soft corn. The platform became a totally different animal, transforming into a more monstrous beast that affected our mental health. And things got even worse when TikTok joined the game. Like, even before AI, we knew that 90% of pictures and videos shared there are BS, making us feel bad about ourselves looking at curated lives. We had to take everything with a grain of salt. And now that AI joins the game, we have to question everything that's posted online. Like, even with a human picture, we're already skeptical. And now, what about the AI era? That's why people are straying away from social media, and tech companies are seeing this trend too. In other words, there's a rebellion against the modern social norms of looking down at your phone and scrolling ourselves to oblivion. And I'm already seeing this in my surroundings. For the past few months, on my way home by bus, I've seen fewer and fewer people opening their social media. They're either staring out the window, watching a movie, or playing games on their phone. There seems to be a silent rebellion against these platforms. One of another example is that people are getting dumb phones to stop scrolling, even to the point that they've purchased physical landline phones too. Another example is that people would train themselves not to look at the phone more often, including myself. For me, I trained my mind not to want to know whatever's in the news every second, and that stopped me from wanting to reach for my phone again. And to this day, I'm proud to say that I've been spending less time on social media and able to appreciate my life better than before. Times are truly changing, and I'd like to believe that it's for the better now. Yes, I admit social media has its perks. It helped me get a job too and communicate with my friends from another part of the world. But it has taken a lot of my time to do nothing nowadays. I'd feel anxious and exhausted all the time when I open the app. And, well, let's just say the best way to not appreciate your life is by opening the app. Apps, actually. With all those unwanted emotions drowning me, I knew something in me had to change. To stop comparing my life to others, be content with my life, and log out to reconnect with thyself. And if you click this video, I'm guessing that you're also on the same train as me. Tired of the facade, the lack of authenticity online, and feeling hollow every time we open social media and scroll away to oblivion. And also realizing, like PewDiePie said, that 10% of social media is about connecting, while the rest is just BS. If so, I'd like you to join the rebellion with me, to resist and fight the dark side, which is making phones boring and reconnecting to real life. Now, we all know that this generation or people these days are the loneliest. In fact, Gen Z, my generation, is already considered the loneliest generation. And it won't get any better if scrolling keeps getting in the way of people starting to socialize again. That's why there's a movement to stay away from phones that I've mentioned above, particularly social media, and I'm a part of it. Currently, this is what I use my phone for. Instagram used to be at the very top, but now it's AI instead. And I'm proud of it. I use AI to help me articulate and challenge my thoughts instead of making me dumber by treating it like a thinking partner. And I'm going to share my strategies to put Instagram and other social media platforms at the bottom of the apps to use on my phone. And I can use it for productivity instead of wasting time or doom scrolling to death. Don't worry, you don't have to meditate in a temple somewhere to find peace and not be addicted to your phone. It's going to be as simple as ABC. So what I did was learn how to make the phone boring. But to do that, we must first change our mindset. Keep in mind, the phone is designed to be the most interesting object in the room, whether it's images, videos, or games, and we'll always find a way to reach for it and view them because it's entertaining or it's pretty colors. So the first move is to make it less interesting than the room itself. And that is to stop wanting to know every little news that's happening around the world. Like, for example, I was used to wanting to know what news there's going around every second. But now that I've been living under a rock, basically, I could not think about any new news happening for the past few days aside from the stock market crash and gas prices increase, since I found them on YouTube. Honestly, I think that's the only news is already enough to know. Like, generally, that's enough. We don't need to know anything else, like the burger feud between the CEOs. Like, I know it's fun, but my point is that we don't need to know everything, like when people keep updating their social media status. That's so unnecessary. Also, when I found that news on YouTube, it was from my laptop. I moved a lot of my activities from my phone to the computer, such as replying WhatsApp or Instagram messages, where I can be more productive, such as writing the script and outlining what I want to say. That is the root that must be removed, the wanting to know everything every second. Once that is gone, we can move on to the next steps. What I did was turn my screen to grayscale. So everything in my phone was black and white, no more seeing pretty colors there. I also put the app at the furthest corner of the homepage, so when I unlock my phone, social media won't be the first thing I'd be looking for. And then I'd be wondering what I'm using my phone for aside from the productivity part. The first few days, my hands kept reaching for the phone out of habit. But after a week, the urge started fading. I had no desire to bring my phone to the bathroom again. In the office, I'd go buy lunch without bringing my phone or plug in my AirPods to my ears. I did that to learn to be present and see my surroundings. After doing that for a few weeks, and now that I've decreased my screen time, I feel like I can appreciate life more. Like, I can appreciate the jobs I have, the family and friends I have. I'd have less anxiety comparing myself to others. And looking back to the time I'd be so anxious, it really was the dang phone. Alright, now that that is out of the picture, the next step is to continue not to keep reaching for the phone. So what I do is have one real conversation a week. And no, not the type where it's a surface level chat like how's the weather, not a text that you won't reply to until the next day, not a story reply, but a real voice-to-voice or face-to-face conversation. Deep conversation. It sounds small, but most of us have rarely done this since the pandemic is over. That's how my generation also got the crown of being the loneliest generation ever. And we're in a dating crisis. We stay in touch with 20 people online and don't actually talk to any of them again. So what I did was I started picking one person a week, a friend, a family member, and called them up. I asked them how they're doing, if they've seen any new movies, and if they want to meet up, or if we could talk over the phone to talk deeply. Like deep conversations. And here's what I noticed. The friendships that survived this shift were the ones that were real to begin with. It's dormant for a while because we weren't in touch enough, but when we got to the right key, the door just swung open and we were able to reconnect just like the old days. We were able to make jokes, have deep conversations, laugh about some old times, talk about something sensitive or something we may not agree with, but still remain friends. And we're just having fun connecting. Even speaking to someone from the other side of the screen did not feel hollow. It felt like they were right in front of me as we spoke about so many things, something that only true close friends would talk about. It's like The Wi-Fi connection was so strong that we could discuss everything, everywhere, all at once. This is how you know these are real friendship in this era, while the rest are just notifications. And you prevent yourself from isolating yourself, something that you don't want to do nowadays. Next, create something to share, but not for views. This one is harder than it sounds because we've been trained to optimize everything. See the numbers. That includes your hobbies, your creation. Like the phrase never do anything for free, the quote got a little too far. Those are the algorithm talking. The one telling you that you must get people's attention for the first few seconds, hyper editing cuts like Mr. Beast, and optimize the titles and thumbnails, and all those talks about what works on being a content creator. But if we're going to innovate, then we have to unoptimize. Try something new. So try making something, a drawing, a journal entry, a meal, a song, a walk, but not for the algorithm. It'll feel strange at first, but you'll get used to doing something you really like and not catch up with algos. And then you'll learn to be okay to post something you like instead of for the bots and learning what works on the internet. Heck, you're allowed to create something without the world knowing too, like writing in journals. It's called creating art, where we bend the rules and do what we want. That's the part of social media quietly took from us. The part that wasn't for anyone else but thyself. Shameless plug, my example is this channel too. I've been doing the exact opposite of what any YouTube gurus will say, as you can see from my channel. And honestly, I'm kind of scared to do this because it's against what I learned how YouTube works, and the fear of not being able to be seen is kind of real. But I committed that I will do this for humans and myself, at least, my other young self, who may need to hear this too. I've also joined communities and talked to people who made a similar commitment to create it for humans and not the algos. We're not going to let ourselves be the product and do our best to resist the numbers and commit to the rebellion against the algos. The rebellion is just the beginning. I thought it was still a long way to go until recently I went to see the Michael Jackson movie with a friend. We were fangirling the whole way through, singing under our breaths, mouthing the words, doing the little hand moves in our seats, and nobody bat an eye because everyone else was doing it too, enjoying the music and experiencing it together what people during his time were experiencing. And it turns out we weren't the only ones who enjoyed it. I checked Twitter after that, half expecting people to hate the movie after seeing the critic reviews, but it was the total opposite. People were posting videos how they were dancing and enjoying the movie together, strangers dancing in the aisles, whole rows on their feet during bad, phones out just to record the moment, but at the same time, having fun. Just people in a dark room having a moment together. It truly felt like we were trying to go back to the time where phones didn't wreck our lives. But now that I think about it, as I discuss all this, I think that's what we're trying to get to return to. Not the 2016, not the nostalgia, but more to the quiet, unoptimized version of being alive today. The one where a meal tastes better when you're not photographing it, or where a movie actually keeps you on edge and you're enjoying it, where a conversation lands deeper when neither of you is half checking your screen. It was here the whole time, waiting for us to look up. Just look up. So if you made this far, thank you, by the way. I'm guessing you feel it too. Pick one small thing this week. Leave your phone in the corner. Call someone and talk to them about everything. Make something unoptimized. See what happens. I'll be doing the same. And maybe, just maybe, we'll meet on the other side of this. In a dark theater somewhere, dancing with strangers, in a cafe daydreaming, and a quiet conversation that doesn't need to be posted. Who knows? Anything could happen when we look up and resist the temptation of the phone. Thank you for watching, and I hope this video is valuable to you. Let's all do our best to unoptimize. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.